everybody, I'm Kaitlyn Lipkin and welcome to the new and improved Youth 1 Sports Roundup, your #1 source for youth sports coverage on the web. We've got a fresh new look, but the show is still all about you. This week, we're highlighting some lacrosse teams on the rise, top performers in the world of track and field, and wrestlers who have won big this spring. But first, we're taking it to the mound for the staples of spring. It's time to see what's going on in the world of youth baseball and softball with our expert, Matt Carl.
Thanks, Kaitlyn. The last few weeks of action have been exciting, and there's a few teams out there who have really impressed me. Gallagher Select made the Garden State proud in the 12U division of the Memorial Day Super NIT, taking home the title after a perfect 6-0 weekend. This New Jersey-based squad improved their record to 21-1 on the season, capturing their second Super NIT title in the process. Keeping with the patriotic theme, we'll take a look at the 13U division of the Memorial Day tournament, which was won by the NBA Pride Elite. The Pride, who were split up earlier this season, hit some minor speed bumps since getting back together, but have really gelled lately. They won all 6 games they played and beat the #3 ranked Upper Deck Cougars 8-7 in the championship game. Finally, in the 14U division, we'll head down to Georgia where it was business as usual for our #1 ranked East Cobb Astros, who won the Atlanta Super NIT in dominant fashion. The Astros outlasted a field which included 4 other teams ranked in Youth 1's top 20, all while averaging 10 runs per game. We'll see if they can keep this awesome run going as teams start to make their final push before World Series play. Congratulations to all teams mentioned, and remember, if you know a team that deserves a shout out, give us a signal at Youth 1 and we'll see if they make their way onto the spotlight in next week's show.
Great stuff, Matt. We can't wait to see who gets mentioned on next week's show. That's not all from the Diamond, though. The women of the NCAA are proving the excitement of softball, and you can see all the way down to elementary school, the talent in America is at an all-time high. Matt, tell us about some girls' softball teams who have been mowing down the competition lately.
Sure, Kaitlyn. Leading off, we're giving a high five to the Indiana Magic out of Lafayette, who have been making their opponents disappear all season. In the 11 tournaments they've played in, the Magic have advanced to the finals in all but 3 and have put together a 62-20 record on the season. Behind the great play of Kayla Gonzalez, Carissa Remter, Brittany Butcher, and the rest of the team, the Magic recently won the Indiana Beach Bash, and we look forward to seeing what they pull out of their hats for the rest of the year. Another team that's been on a real run is a team that should be on the run, the Downright Grove Outlaws from Illinois. The Outlaws are currently ranked #1 in the 13U power rankings, but haven't let the bounty on their heads slow them down. They most recently won the National Invitational and have made it to the mountaintop in their last 3 tournaments. We'll see if there's any team skilled enough to beat these girls to the draw as the season progresses. Finally, we'll head down to Cherry Hill, New Jersey to give some major props to the South Jersey Gators. The stats for these ladies are absolutely incredible. 17 total shutouts, 1 opposing run per game, and a total of 270 runs scored are just a few of the reasons that the Gators won a conference title and earned 4 first-place tournament finishes this season. Congratulations to all the teams mentioned on their success, and remember, if you know a team that deserves a shout, fire one inside to us at youth1.com, and we'll see who makes the lineup next week. Until then, back to you, Kaitlyn.
Track season is in full force, and Chris Hunt is bringing you some of the top performers over the past few weeks in our first edition of Talking Track.
The temperature isn't the only thing on the rise as we head into the home stretch of spring. The track season has really started to heat up as well. Let's take a lap around the nation and get you up to speed with this past week's top performers. We'll start in the Sooner State, where Oklahoma's distance prodigy Cody Jones showed flashes of excellence early this year. The 2011 National Coaches Cross Country Champion won a huge double at the Oklahoma State Age Group Championships, running 4:16 in the 1500 meters and 9:17 in the 3000 meters, 2 of the nation's top 10 times on the year. Cody's constantly among the best in his class and just added a few more trophies to his mantle in his home state. Next, we'll take you farther out west, where the LA Jets Invitational in Harbor City, California, harbored some of the nation's top youth athletes and saw some of America's fastest times on the year. Priscilla Lee of the Umoja Track Club ran a U.S. #1 time of 2:15.99 seconds in the 800 meters, followed by Bianca Alonso and Laura Lanteo, who ran the nation's 4th and 5th fastest times on the year. This race was the fastest half-mile contest all year, bar none. It was also a huge day for the Equalizers Track Club from Tustin, California, who saw their girls distance runners sweep the first 8 spots in the 1500 meters and top 6 spots in the 3000 meters. The team was led by Sydney Talai, who won both events with times of 4:52 and 10:48 respectively. On the boys' side, the nation's newly crowned all-time 3,000-meter record holder, Philip Roca, put together an outstanding 1,500 meters, grinding out a 4:10 to win by 15 seconds. Don't be surprised if he takes down his own record and possibly a couple others come championship season. Congratulations to all of the runners featured on this week's show. And if you or your teammates know somebody that deserves a shout-out, send us an email at youth1.com and check us out on Facebook or Twitter, and next week your name might come up when we're talking track.
Thanks, Chris. Every week, somebody is doing something amazing on the track. And with championship season right around the corner, stay tuned into the Roundup and Youth1.com for all the highlights. We turn our attention now to another individual sport as Brian Lance brings us highlights from the nation's top performers in wrestling at the NHSCA National Duels.
Thanks, Kaitlyn. This Week in Wrestling takes us to Virginia Beach, where some of the nation's best wrestlers were making waves. The NHSCA National Duels is one of the most prestigious meets in the country, and winning it is quite an honor for teams and individual athletes alike. That being said, we're honored to break down the winners of this all-star caliber tournament. Taking home the 3rd place title in the middle school division was Team Golden Cross from Ohio, who went 7-1 and defeated Illinois Orange in the consolation finals in thrilling fashion, 33-32. Golden Cross was led by 90-pound winner Seth Hogue, 119-pounder Caleb Romano, and 180-pounder Drew Fenton. The silver medal was awarded to the Young Guns White team, who came from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area to finish 8-1 overall at the event. Eric Hong led the way for Young Guns, who won his 95-pound bout 4-3. 75-pounder Gavin Teasdale took a victory in his division, and Caleb Young had himself an outstanding showing as well, winning his 119-pound bout 4-2. Which takes us to the top of the podium. Of all the town-leading teams entered in the competition, Team Griffin Black from the Middletown, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania area came out on top, finishing in 1st place with an undefeated 9-0 record. Team Griffin Black was led by the outstanding performances of 230-pounder Jordan Wood, 154-pounder Blake Marks, and 100-pounder Nino Bonacorsi. We salute all the competitors and admire the victories. And remember, if you or someone you know deserves some props, drop us a line at youth1.com, Twitter at youth1, or Facebook us, and we'll see if we can get some FaceTime on next week's show. Back to you, Kaitlyn.
Thanks, Ryan, and thanks to all of our analysts and athletes mentioned on the show. After all, without dedicated athletes and a supportive audience, none of this would be possible. So here at Youth1, we aim to bring you elite rankings and news about your leagues and teams, and also entertain you with content from the sports you love. With that in mind, we're pleased to introduce the Playmaker Zone, where our staff will let you in on the special projects here at Youth1. This week, our Playmakers, Alan Papadines and Chris Hunt, are in the studio with us to preview a pair of exclusive Youth1 presentations. Welcome, guys. Why don't you tell us what you got?
Thanks, Kaitlyn. Today we have 2 great exclusives for you. Recently, Chris spent an entire day with former MLB slugger Cecil Fielder. Chris, tell us about your experience.
Sure. Well, I got the opportunity to spend an entire afternoon in the Yankee Suites, which are gorgeous, by the way, over in the Bronx with Cecil Fielder, just talking about baseball in general, his career, and his collaboration with Youth1 and his organization out in California, the Baseball Legends. Let's take a look at the preview and just see some bits and pieces on what Cecil had to say.
What are you going to do to make yourself better today? We ain't worrying about yesterday, we're not worrying about tomorrow, we're worrying about today. You just can't work when coach calls practice. You have to work every day, and those kids that are doing that are those kids that you see on TV later on in life. You got to burn that midnight oil to become a great ball player. Competition breeds success. And I think if these young kids know from an early point in their lives, if this is really what they want to do is play baseball, they can take the bull by the horns and compete against the best talent. This is something that I really, really enjoy doing. I mean, getting the kids out to the ballpark. What we do have is an opportunity to get an education, and I think that's the first thing that we try to tell our kids is get that education first. And that's one thing we do at my World Series, to let these kids know that, number one, baseball is not an easy game. Number two, you cannot come to this game and play once or twice a week and think you're going to be successful.
Wow, Chris, it's not every day that you get to spend an afternoon with a baseball player like Cecil Fielder.
It sure wasn't. We actually got the opportunity to spend some time eating dinner with him, just talking about baseball in general, his past, his youth, and just having a good time. It was certainly a great opportunity to meet him. Speaking of great opportunities, pretty much spend every hour of the day scouting these youth football players around the country in various camps and things like that. And you recently went to one at Morris Catholic High School. Tell us a little bit about how that went.
Yeah, Chris. Recently we went to Football University New Jersey camp at Morris Catholic High School in Denville, New Jersey. And you would not believe the size of some of the boys out on that field. And to think that they're only 13 years old, and some of them even younger, is mind-boggling. Let's check out some of the footage from that camp. I'm here at the FBU camp at Morris Catholic High School in Denville, New Jersey.
The benefit of me being able to get out to camps like this is to find the hidden gems.
I just want to get better, reach my full potential.
We get people traveling from other states, FBU camps.
It was amazing. The caliber of athletes down there was insane. I haven't seen anything like it.
Those former players, they take pride in that they were once, an East Bay Youth All-American.
1, 2, 3, FB,
Alan, it will always amaze me about the sizes of these 7th and 8th graders nowadays. I remember being that age, and I was probably about a fraction of these guys' sizes.
Yeah.
It's great to see them perform out there on the football field.
Yeah, and Chris, this was only one camp. There are camps and kids across the nation, and Youth1 exists to find those kids.
And indeed we will. For full-length versions of these videos, check into youth1.com. Thanks for watching the first ever segment of the Playmaker Zone. For Alan Popperbeans, I'm Chris Hunt. Back to you in the studio, Kaitlyn.
Well, that's all for this week's edition of the Youth1 Sports Roundup. I'm Kaitlyn Lipkin, and on behalf of our whole team, thanks for watching, and continue to check in to youth1.com for everything youth sports.